Now we're outside, and I'm going to do an on-deck tour of the Balance 451. So immediately after you leave the salon, you have the nav station. We designed the nav station to have four corners visibility and to be adjustable for height. So we have a drop-down platform that people can stand up on. So no matter how tall or short a person is, they're going to have visibility over both bows. When they're sitting, this can be retracted. This helm seat is fully adjustable, and it also shifts in both directions. So it can be turned into an half-facing seat simply by pulling the pin on this side, pulling it this way, and at anchor you can sit and use this as a chair facing in the opposite direction. One unique feature of our nav station is that we have all of our exterior lights here, navigation lights, courtesy dome, and deck lights and cockpit lights. When you come into your boat at night, you don't want to fumble around to open the door to go into a panel inside. The Raymarine chart plotter that we use is a touchscreen, so that you can rest your hand on the top of the wheel and scroll easily while you're working the plotter. We have the back panel lights here. We have the Lewmar windlass operation here and up forward. And then we also have a foot pedal switch to operate the electric winch which tails the main sheet. So when you're hoisting the mainsail on this boat, you tail it in the back winch here, which is what we call our operation station. Put it in the put it on the winch, and then you just press your foot down and allow the line to spool back after your mainsail's up. You set the autopilot, go back and put it away in the storage bag. The beauty of that on a boat of this size is that you don't have the complex ergonomics of winches. You don't have the visibility distraction of the winches, and nor do you have any spaghetti whatsoever in your cockpit. There are no lines to trip on, no lines to catch in your throttles, and everything is easily operated and stored. When you get into a larger boat, you can start to put things off to the side. The hatch opens and slides all the way forward. When it's slid all the way forward, there'll be a clear plastic window that you can look through to see your sails. So you have perfect visibility of your head sails. And as I said, you can see all four corners of the boat. In the cockpit itself, we have a small day fridge, which is optional, a cutting board that is removable, an outdoor sink, so you can have fish, cut it. This small hatch here opens up to the operations for the Lewmar windlass, and you can also use it for storage. Here we have a big barbecue locker. We don't have a barbecue in this particular boat right now, but you open this up and things come in and out. Interestingly, you might find this is a piece of our floor panel. You can see I can hold it up with 3 fingers. It's light as can be, it's all composite. So when you're back here operating the winch station, you have an electric winch here. Your main halyard is here, and you have a single line reefing. So you do all of your sail handling here, and everything is at the proper height. You're going to use the mainsail, it's right here. This particular winch isn't electrified, so it's very simple. You just take this line off, run it around here, and then you have your electric winch operation buttons here. It's very simple and easy to use. We've elected to have a large bowsprit with a continuous line furler. It's run down the stanchions to a set of cam cleats. It's very easy to operate. You don't have to leave the cockpit to use it, and we just store the lines here in the line bag. Up on deck, you'll notice that all of the hatches on the boat are recessed, flush hatches that drain off the sides. Very costly tooling, but it makes it nice to move about the deck. You can't trip on anything. We have a self-tending blade jib, so that when you are single-handing the boat, you just turn the wheel over and you tack. Simple as can be. You need to power up the boat. You roll out the big screecher on our all 7-foot carbon bowsprit, and it powers up the boat magnificently. We have very, very large deck lockers on either side of the anchor locker. This is a great place to put the spinnaker, leave the spinnaker in the sock attached. We have our windlass locker here. It's very deep, can carry as much chain and rope as you might possibly want, along with the operations for the windlass here. This little hatch here was designed so that when you get your anchor set and you're happy with it, you attach your bridle to the chain, let your anchor out, set it back down, and you're done. No leaning over the bow to attach the bridle. We have a secondary anchor roller for a spare anchor. Another very large hatch. Same lockers on the opposite side. As I explained before, for those that wish, we put an opening port here and some struts, and this can be held in this position, and air will just blast through the boat, whether it's raining or not, and you can leave it at anchor in that fashion if you leave the boat. This very, very large locker here houses the batteries in an enclosed, their own separate enclosed box. It's a huge locker. We also include a big fuel transfer pump. So rather than lug around a lot of extra tanks if you're going into the South Pacific or you need a lot of fuel, you just get a large bladder tank and put it in there, stick in the fuel transfer pump and move it to the primary tanks. The batteries of the boat from this box are directly underneath the mast. Fuel tanks are just aft to the mast, basically running athwartships across the seats. So all the heavy weight of the boat is centered right here where you want it to avoid unnecessary fore and aft pitching. It makes for a much smoother ride. If you look at our bows on the boat, they're wave-piercing bows, extremely sharp, cut through the water. The boat seems to sail very, very easily, likes to sail comfortably without being pushed in the 9 to 10 knot range. We just delivered her here to the Miami Boat Show, and we averaged 9.5 knots from Fort Lauderdale. We have dual dagger boards on the boat. One of the things about our dagger boards that's different than many other companies is that our dagger boards are actually buoyant. They're foam filled. So we use a line to bring the boards down, and then to let them up, you just essentially ease off on the line and they come up by themselves. When the boards are down, the only thing the wind sees to windward is this aluminum top. It reduces windage, reduces weight, which is very helpful. Anything that you can do when you're sailing upwind to reduce windage is going to help your performance. We have tall, oversized offshore stanchions. And nice open sterns, so that when you want to get in and out of the tender, you're right down on tender level. One thing you might find interesting about this boat, something you don't see on very many others, is this little hatch here. This is a fuel shutoff hatch. If you were to get a fire in the engine room, you can shut the fuel off right here. We also have a very large blower system in the engines, because we built the boat both to Australian codes and also American Boat and Yacht Council codes. The engine room is here. It's fully sound shielded. In this particular boat, we used the Volvo 40s with the high output DC alternators. And we have the Volvo folding props. It's clean, easy access, great to work with. Our cockpit table is pretty unique. A lot of people are intrigued by how we designed this, I'm going to walk by here. When you're actually operating the boat, you're either in the helm, you're either working here, cooking in the barbecue, or doing a sail change. And this table is down when you're just hanging out, and you can just sit. It's comfortable. You can seat a lot of people. But when you want to have dinner, you lift this up, it locks in place, you can seat 8 people very comfortably in this space. This is all composite, so it's wash and wear, it'll take the water. The davits here have a little surfboard on it right now. We don't have a tender here at the boat show on the boat, but they're all carbon fiber, so they can handle an extreme amount of load. All of our posts are stainless steel. We could use aluminum, but in our experience, if we use aluminum and powder coat it, within 5 or 6 years it starts to decay and you have to repaint it, whereas the stainless is very much going to be a lifetime product. If you walk out onto the dock, you can see her lines. Actually, right here you get a good idea of our blower system. So our engines have more ventilation than any other company that I know of. And that's an Australian approved ventilation system. These are Lewmar flush hatches. You get a good idea of the design of the bow. So talking about the rig on the boat, we worked with Selden Spars, and we elected to go with the largest section that they recommended for the boat because we wanted to have a single spreader rig with only one set of superior diamond wires and one set of shrouds, because in my experience most mast failures occur from terminal failure, and also in about 8 years time when you want to replace your standing rigging, a rig like this is very clean and simple. You can replace the standing rigging yourself for a very low cost. Any boat that has a lot of jumpers and a lot of terminals is more prone to failure and also much more costly to redo in 8 years after you have to redo the standing. I want to talk briefly here about dagger boards. It's been very interesting for me here at the Miami Boat Show. Many people come on the boat and say, oh, well, I hear from other builders that dagger boards are prone to banging and they're prone to breakage and they're hard to operate. The reality is dagger boards are very simple to operate, and the only reason builders don't put them on their boats is they're very, very costly to put on a boat. To put a set of dagger boards on a yacht like this is no less than $40,000. The advantage of the dagger board, though, is enormous. When the boards are down, the boat points into the wind between 5 and 7 degrees higher than a boat with fixed keels. And when it's in the raised position, when you're sailing off-wind, you're not dragging around a lot of empty keel that really doesn't benefit you in any way. One thing about this boat that we've done that is an option is we also have a small mini keel. The dagger board raises up and it's above the mini keel so that you can beach the boat, and if you're in shallow water you raise the dagger board, so it's literally impossible to break the dagger board on this boat with these little mini keels if you bring them up when you're in shallow conditions. Furthermore, if you were to break them, the mini keels would enable you to sail anywhere. But it's very unlikely you'd be breaking the board. When the boards are up, the boat only draws about 3.5 feet of water. The sail drives are protected by the mini keels, and their rudders are also protected. So I really strongly believe in dagger boards. But for those people that want fixed keels, we just decided if you want fixed keels, you can have them. If you want just a dagger board and no mini keels, you can have it. And if you want dagger boards with mini keels, you can have that too. So operating the dagger boards is a piece of cake. This line here is the line that holds the dagger board in the out position. Just give it a couple wraps on the winch, press the button to take the pressure off, pop the stopper, and let it down. And away it goes. The dagger board is now in the down position. Flip the stoppers. The dagger board is down. Notice in the down position that all you're seeing right now is the 2 stainless rails. So when you're sailing to windward, you're not getting the drag of a big dagger board top. You want to raise the board, you just take the red line, which is the up line. If you want it, you can put it around the winch. You just press the winch. And it's up. Simple as that. In reality, if you're voyaging, you won't be using the dagger boards hardly at all. The only time that you'll put them down is when you're sailing to windward. So if you're on a long course, you'll set the dagger boards, take you a few bits, sail to where you're going upwind. As soon as you're no longer upwind and you don't want the drag of the fixed keels and the drag of the dagger boards, you raise the dagger boards up to where you like them, and that's it.